Have you ever felt the pull of an inner journey, a mysterious call that whispers secrets from the depths of your mind? Imagine a life where every step taken on ancient roads unveils hidden layers of your soul. This narrative, steeped in the rich legacy of Ibn Battuta, invites you to question everything you thought you knew about adventure and identity. Can a traveler's quest illuminate your own inner battles and awaken the courage you never knew you possessed? As you embark on this immersive exploration, consider this. Are you ready to challenge your perceptions and embrace the unknown? And as you join us on this reflective journey, tell us, where are you watching from? Share your location in the comments below, and let your voice be part of a global conversation that bridges continents and hearts. Join us, and let the adventure begin. Embrace the mystery and start exploring today. Ibn Battuta is a name that rings with the echoes of adventure, curiosity, and a deep human connection that crosses the boundaries of time and space. Although not a warrior by nature, his lifelong journey took him across many lands, including the vast and varied continent of Africa. His chronicles reveal not only the geography of the lands he visited, but also the rich tapestry of human experiences he encountered. This narrative is not merely a historical account of his travels, it is a psychological exploration of a man driven by the desire to understand the world and, in the process, himself. In exploring Ibn Battuta's life, we see the unfolding of an inner journey that mirrors the physical paths he trod, linking together the landscapes of Africa, the cultural crossroads of the Middle East, and the diverse societies beyond. As we step into this narrative, we invite you to journey alongside Ibn Battuta, not only to follow his footsteps on dusty roads and bustling markets, but also to delve into the intricate workings of his mind. His observations, written in a language that speaks simply and directly, continue to touch hearts and ignite the imagination of readers today. This psychological history is designed to be interactive and accessible, resonating with emotions as much as with facts, and demonstrating how one man's travels can reflect the universal quest for meaning, identity, and connection.
Let's talk about Ibn Battuta's early life and background.
Ibn Battuta was born into a modest family in the bustling urban centers of his native land. His early life was steeped in the teachings of his community and the rich traditions of Islamic scholarship. From a young age, he was exposed to the call of adventure, not in the form of battle or conquest, but through the lure of knowledge, spirituality, and the promise of distant horizons. Growing up in an environment where the oral traditions and the written word carried great weight, Ibn Battuta was instilled with the belief that every person's journey, whether physical or inner, was a part of a grand design. His early education involved learning the intricacies of the Quran, the practices of prayer, and the importance of hospitality and honor. This formative period not only grounded him in the ethical values of his faith, but also sparked a deep curiosity about the world beyond the familiar streets of his hometown. Even as a child, he was fascinated by the stories of ancient travelers and scholars. These narratives planted seeds of wonder that would later blossom into an insatiable desire to explore. He was particularly moved by the idea that the world was a mosaic of diverse cultures and peoples, each with its own unique contribution to the fabric of human civilization. This early exposure to a world of endless possibility laid the psychological foundation for his later life, a life defined by movement, reflection, and the constant pursuit of understanding. The psychological makeup of young Ibn Battuta was marked by a blend of curiosity, empathy, and a profound sense of destiny. He was not driven by a thirst for conquest or glory, but by the simple yet powerful need to know, to see, and to feel the pulse of humanity in its many forms. In his early writings and conversations, hints of this inner quest are evident, an earnest desire to connect with the souls of those he would later meet on his long and winding path.
Now, let's unfold the Ibn Battuta spirit of adventure.
The call to adventure is one that resonates deeply within many of us. For Ibn Battuta, it came in the form of a desire to see what lay beyond the horizon and to learn from the countless cultures that flourished across the lands. When he finally set out on his journey, it was not merely a physical departure from home. It was a bold step into the unknown realms of both the world and his inner self. The early stages of his travels were filled with both excitement and uncertainty. Every new city, every unfamiliar language, and every strange custom was a reminder that the world was vast and varied. This realization brought with it a mix of exhilaration and a subtle undercurrent of fear. What if the lands he encountered held dangers or challenges he was not prepared to face? Yet, driven by a deep inner conviction, he pressed on, confident that each step was a part of a larger journey towards personal growth and enlightenment. Ibn Battuta's spirit of adventure was intertwined with his desire for spiritual fulfillment. He believed that traveling was a way to honor the teachings of his faith, to seek wisdom, and to understand the true nature of humanity. His travels were marked by a gentle introspection, a quiet, reflective understanding that every encounter, every conversation, was an opportunity to learn something new about the world and about himself. This psychological outlook made his journey not just an external exploration but also an internal pilgrimage where every experience contributed to his evolving sense of self. As he left behind the comfort of familiar surroundings, he carried with him the lessons of his upbringing, the values of kindness, honesty, and a respect for all human beings. These early psychological underpinnings would later serve as his compass, guiding him through turbulent times and enriching his encounters with diverse peoples and cultures.
Let's set the record straight on Ibn Battuta's journey across Africa.
Among the many chapters of Ibn Battuta's travels, his journey across Africa holds a special place. Africa, with its sprawling deserts, lush forests, and vibrant cities, offered him a canvas rich with diversity and mystery. It was here that he experienced firsthand the deep cultural, social, and religious traditions that would forever shape his understanding of humanity. Crossing the vast Saharan sands, Ibn Battuta encountered societies that thrived despite the harshness of their environment. The resilience of the people he met, their deep spiritual connection to the land, and their rich oral traditions left an indelible mark on him. In his writings, he described the bustling markets, the lively exchanges in local languages, and the warmth of hospitality that defined life in these regions. These experiences were not just factual observations. They were emotional imprints that deepened his empathy and broadened his perspective on what it meant to be human. In Africa, the traveler discovered that the simple act of sharing a meal or a conversation could bridge even the widest of cultural divides. The psychological impact of these encounters was profound. He observed that despite differences in appearance, language, or custom, there existed a universal bond, a common human spirit that united people across continents. This realization was both humbling and uplifting, stirring in him a renewed belief in the power of human connection. One of the most significant aspects of his journey in Africa was his ability to see the beauty in diversity. Whether he was admiring the intricate designs of local art or listening to the rhythmic beat of traditional music, Ibn Battuta's senses were awakened to the richness of life in ways that went far beyond the superficial. His inner world, once confined to the familiar teachings of his early life, began to expand in response to the vivid tapestry of African cultures. The emotions he felt, wonder, admiration, and sometimes even sorrow at the hardships he witnessed, were carefully woven into the fabric of his narratives, making his chronicles a true psychological study of cross-cultural encounters. Moreover, his interactions with local leaders, scholars, and everyday citizens helped him appreciate the layered complexities of African societies. He observed the respect for elders, the strength of family ties, and the communal spirit that held communities together even in the face of adversity. Each interaction was a lesson in humanity, a small chapter in the larger story of life that he was destined to share with future generations. As he traversed ancient trade routes and remote villages, Ibn Battuta was not simply an observer. He was an active participant in the cultural exchange. His openness to new ideas, his willingness to embrace unfamiliar customs, and his deep sense of empathy allowed him to connect with people on a personal level. This emotional engagement transformed his journey into a profound psychological exploration of what it means to be part of a global community, an exploration that continues to resonate with readers today.
Let's talk about Ibn Battuta's records in a world beyond war.
Ibn Battuta's chronicles are not merely travel logs. They are windows into the soul of a man who was deeply affected by everything he saw and experienced. His writings are filled with personal reflections, observations, and emotional insights that reveal a thoughtful, introspective mind constantly in dialogue with the world around him. In these accounts, we see not only the geography of lands and peoples, but also the inner workings of a spirit that was continuously evolving. His style of recording was simple yet profound. Instead of glorifying conquest or warfare, he focused on the everyday lives of the people he encountered. He wrote about the joy of a shared meal, the sorrow of separation, and the quiet dignity of individuals living through hardship. His narratives were imbued with a gentle honesty, a reflection of a man who valued truth above all else. This choice of focus allowed him to create a portrait of the world that was both historically rich and emotionally resonant. The act of writing for Ibn Battuta was itself a psychological journey. Every line he penned was an attempt to capture not just events, but the feelings and thoughts they evoked. In describing a bustling marketplace or a quiet village, he was also capturing the pulse of life, the laughter, the fears, the hopes, and the dreams of the people. His words become a mirror for the soul, reflecting the inner lives of those who might otherwise be lost to the annals of time. One of the remarkable aspects of his chronicles is how they invite readers to experience the world through his eyes. His detailed descriptions of architecture, local customs, and social interactions draw the reader into the scene, creating a vivid mental picture that goes beyond mere historical fact. It is as if every observation is a brushstroke in a larger painting of human existence, a painting that blends the external with the internal, the factual with the emotional. This blending of observation and introspection makes Ibn Battuta's writings a timeless record of human life. His attention to detail, combined with a sincere empathy for the people he encountered, meant that his work could speak to readers across cultures and ages. Whether it was the quiet dignity of a humble craftsman or the regal bearing of a local ruler, each portrait he painted was filled with a sense of humanity that transcended time and place. His narrative style remains a beacon for anyone who believes that the real history of a people is found not only in battles won or lost, but in the shared moments of joy, sorrow, and reflection.
Now it is time to reflect on Ibn Battuta's identity.
As Ibn Battuta journeyed from one land to another, he also embarked on an equally important internal journey, a quest to understand his own identity in a world that seemed to be constantly in flux. His encounters with different cultures, each with its own set of values and traditions, forced him to reflect on who he was and what he truly believed. This internal dialogue between the self and the diverse world around him forms the backbone of his psychological history. Early in his travels, he was a man shaped by the teachings and traditions of his homeland. Yet, as he encountered people with different ideas and ways of life, he began to question and expand his own beliefs. This process was not without its challenges. At times, the sheer diversity of human experience brought moments of doubt, moments when he wondered if the values he had grown up with were sufficient to understand the complexities of the world. However, these moments of uncertainty became the crucible in which a richer, more nuanced identity was forged. In his reflective passages, Ibn Battuta often expressed a sense of wonder about the self. He wrote about how every new experience left a mark on him, changing the way he saw the world and, in turn, the way he saw himself. There was an ongoing interplay between what he learned from the people he met and the inner truths he had long carried within him. Over time, this interplay transformed him from a curious traveler into a wise observer, a man who understood that true knowledge came not just from reading books or hearing tales, but from the living, breathing reality of human existence. For Ibn Battuta, identity was not a fixed state. It was a fluid, ever-changing process. Each encounter, whether with a wise elder in a bustling market or with a humble farmer in a remote village, added another layer to his understanding of himself. His psychological evolution can be seen in the way he reconciled the old with the new, the familiar with the unfamiliar. In this constant state of becoming, he discovered that the journey inward was as important as the journey outward, a realization that remains relevant to anyone seeking to understand the true nature of self and society.
Let's explore Ibn Battuta's influence on Islamic faith and his psychological journey.
Central to Ibn Battuta's life and travels was the enduring influence of his Islamic faith. For him, religion was not just a set of rituals and dogmas, it was a living, breathing force that informed every step of his journey. His faith provided the moral framework through which he interpreted the world, the compass that guided him through both calm and stormy seas. His writings reveal that even in the far-flung corners of Africa and other distant lands, the principles of Islam resonated deeply. He observed how the teachings of the Quran and the traditions of the Prophet shaped the everyday lives of people. This shared spiritual heritage became a bridge connecting him with communities that, despite cultural differences, shared a common sense of duty, compassion, and justice. The familiarity of these values offered him comfort during moments of isolation and uncertainty. Yet, Ibn Battuta was also a keen observer of the diversity of religious expression. In his travels, he encountered communities where Islamic practices blended with local customs, creating unique interpretations that enriched his understanding of faith. Rather than seeing these variations as deviations from the truth, he viewed them as natural evolutions of a living tradition, adaptations that reflected the interplay between divine guidance and human experience. This openness to diverse expressions of faith deepened his own spiritual journey and broadened his understanding of what it meant to be a follower of Islam. His psychological journey, therefore, was marked by a constant dialogue between the certainty of his beliefs and the complexity of the world around him. Each new experience challenged him to think more deeply about the nature of faith, the essence of spirituality, and the role that religion played in shaping human destiny. In this respect, his travels were not just physical movements across space, but also a pilgrimage of the heart and mind, a quest to reconcile the eternal truths of his faith with the dynamic, ever-changing realities of life.
These are the challenges and triumphs Ibn Battuta faced.
No great journey is without its share of difficulties, and Ibn Battuta's long road was paved with both challenges and moments of triumph. His encounters with harsh climates, hostile environments, and cultural misunderstandings tested his resolve and brought him face to face with his own vulnerabilities. However, it was through these trials that his character was refined and his inner strength was forged. Throughout his travels, Ibn Battuta encountered moments that demanded both physical endurance and psychological resilience. The vast deserts, with their scorching heat and endless sands, often left him feeling isolated and small in the face of nature's immensity. In cities and villages where political strife and social unrest were common, he was forced to navigate delicate situations with sensitivity and care. Each hardship, though painful at the moment, became a stepping stone in the gradual evolution of his inner self. What is striking about his narrative is the balance between despair and hope. Even in the darkest moments, when loneliness, fatigue, or fear crept in, he found solace in the simple acts of kindness offered by strangers, in the shared laughter over a meal, or in the quiet moments of prayer. These instances, seemingly small and fleeting, carried tremendous psychological weight. They served as reminders that human compassion and resilience could prevail even in the harshest of circumstances. Ibn Battuta's reflections on these challenges reveal a man who did not see suffering as a curse, but rather as an opportunity for growth. Each obstacle he faced contributed to a deeper understanding of the human spirit, an understanding that continues to inspire those who read his chronicles today. His triumphs, no matter how modest, were victories of the human heart and will, a testimony to the strength that lies within each of us when we dare to follow our own path. The psychological impact of overcoming adversity is a central theme in his writings. Through hardship, he discovered that the true measure of a traveler was not in the miles he had covered, but in the depth of his compassion and the richness of his inner life. Every challenge was a lesson, every setback a chance to learn, and every success a quiet celebration of the human capacity to endure and flourish. Let's talk about the legacy of Ibn Battuta on African civilizations and beyond. Ibn Battuta's influence reaches far beyond the mere documentation of his travels. His detailed accounts have provided historians, scholars, and curious minds with a window into a world that might otherwise have faded into obscurity. Yet his legacy is not confined to academic circles. The emotions and insights woven into his narratives have had a lasting impact on the cultural memory of African civilizations and beyond. In Africa, his writings captured the essence of societies that were thriving against great odds. The dignity of the people, the richness of their traditions, and the resilience of their communities were documented with a sensitivity that transcended time. His work offered future generations a model of empathy, understanding, and respect, a legacy that continues to inspire those who value the power of storytelling and historical record. Beyond the factual details of trade routes, city layouts, and political systems, his chronicles speak to the universal experience of humanity. They remind us that behind every historical event, every cultural practice, there are real people with hopes, dreams, and struggles. His narrative invites modern readers to look beyond the surface and see the deep emotional and psychological threads that connect us all. It challenges us to embrace the diversity of human experience and to find beauty in the differences that make our world so richly varied. The psychological legacy of Ibn Battuta is found in the way his writings encourage introspection. They prompt us to ask, what drives us to explore? How do our experiences shape our inner selves? In a world where borders seem to divide us, his life stands as a testament to the idea that understanding, empathy, and a shared human spirit can bridge even the widest of gaps. His legacy lives on in every traveler who sets out in search of truth, every scholar who pores over ancient manuscripts, and every reader who finds solace in his gentle, reflective prose. His chronicles are a reminder that history is not just written in dates and events, but in the hearts and minds of those who live it. His reflections on the diverse cultures of Africa and beyond speak to a fundamental truth, that every journey, whether physical or emotional, is an opportunity to learn, to empathize, and to grow. His legacy encourages us to look at the world not with the cold detachment of an observer, but with the warmth and curiosity of a fellow traveler on the same long, winding road of life. Today, as we navigate our own complex global landscape, the spirit of Ibn Battuta remains a beacon of hope and understanding. His life teaches us that the search for knowledge and meaning is a timeless quest, one that calls on each of us to venture beyond our comfort zones, to embrace the unfamiliar, and to celebrate the shared humanity that unites us all. In conclusion, Ibn Battuta was much more than a chronicler of distant lands. He was a seeker of truth, whose inner journey resonated with every step he took. His life and writings continue to inspire, inviting us to reflect on our own paths, and to find within ourselves the courage to explore not only the world around us, but also the vast, uncharted landscapes of our own hearts and minds. Are you ready to unlock the secrets of legendary minds? Subscribe to Stories of Legends channel on YouTube and embark on an immersive journey into history and the human spirit. Join our community, share insights, and let timeless tales transform your world. Subscribe now for a life enriched with wonder.